me a pioneer in the field of oneirology, the study of dreams. My invention, the somatoscope, was capable of translating the brain's neural signals into a crude, visual representation of a person's dreamscape. It was meant to be a tool for healing. I began by studying a group of patients afflicted with a unique, shared night terror. They all reported dreaming of the same place, a desolate, soundless metropolis they called the City of Rust and Silence. When I activated the somatoscope, I saw the impossible truth. Their dreams were identical. The machine rendered the same horrifyingly consistent landscape for each of them. Endless streets, covered in a fine, crimson dust. Towering skeletal skyscrapers of corroded, weeping metal that clawed at a featureless, gray sky. There was no sun, no wind, no life, and the silence. It was absolute. A heavy, oppressive void of sound that felt like a physical weight. In the exact center of the city stood a single structure that defied the decay, a monolithic black tower, smooth and seamless, that seemed to absorb the very light around it. In every dream, the dreamer's perspective was drawn towards this tower, but they would always wake up in a cold sweat before ever reaching it. I became obsessed, running the simulations day and night, archiving terabytes of this shared, impossible world. During a session with my newest patient, I noticed something, a flicker of movement near the base of the black tower. I zoomed in, enhancing the feed. It was not a glitch in the system. It was a figure, impossibly tall and thin, like a line of ink drawn against the gray sky. It had been absent from every other recording. It stood perfectly still. Then, as if it could feel my observation through the machine, through the mind of the dreamer, its head slowly turned. 2 points of cold, white light ignited where its eyes should have been, and it stared directly at me. I tore the monitoring headset from my ears, my heart hammering. I shut the machine down, but the chilling sensation of being watched lingered. That night, for the first time in years, I dreamed. I was standing on a street carpeted in red dust. I was looking up at the jagged spires of corroded metal. I was in the city, and it was no longer a passive image on a screen. The silence was a painful pressure in my ears. The air tasted of rust and static. In the distance, by the foot of the black tower, I saw the figure, and it was walking, slowly, deliberately, directly towards me. I woke myself up with my own scream. The condition of my patients began to deteriorate rapidly. They told me the silence in their dreams had been broken. They could now hear a faint, rhythmic sound. Thump, thump, thump. It was the sound of footsteps, they said, and every night they were getting closer. One of them, a young man named Walter, fell into a coma. The nurses said his heart beats with a slow, terrifyingly steady rhythm. I finally understood the horrifying truth. The city was not just a dream, it was a place, a nexus in the collective unconscious of humanity. My somatoscope had not just created a window to look through, it had opened a door, and the city's sole inhabitant had finally noticed us. I ran to my lab, determined to destroy the machine and burn all my research. But I was too late. The somatoscope had turned itself on. The main screen showed a view of the rust-covered street from my own dream. The thumping sound was louder now, emanating from the speakers. The tall, thin figure was on the screen, only feet away from the dreamer's perspective. It raised a long, slender arm, reaching out as if to touch the glass. At that exact moment, I heard a floorboard creak behind me. In my lab, the figure on the screen began to push its hand through the image, the display distorting like liquid, as a shape of pure shadow and cold began to emerge into the room with me. The thumping was no longer coming from the speakers. It was in the room,